projection.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Taking On Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing?
I am good. How are you today, sir?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Nice Sunday here in the Ham. Uh, it is finally here, folks. Football season. We had football
Yes, sir.
yesterday.
We
It
did.
wasn't much, but it was still college football. I guess headlined, if you will. I don't. Notre Dame beating the crap out of Navy.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. USC whooping up on San Jose State.
Late.
This
The first half was a little iffy.
Yeah, a little iffy. A little iffy. San Jose State, though, they made leaps and
Put up
bounds
some
as a
points.
program. But if you're a
Oh yeah.
title contender like USC, what says they are, that's first game though. First game.
Yeah. First game.
Let's see here. Elsewhere, Jacksonville State beat UTEP. UMass beat New Mexico State. San Diego State beat Ohio. La Tech beat FIU, and then Vanderbilt beat Hawaii.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Greg, you want to talk about any of those games? What you see from maybe USC or Notre Dame?
Oh yeah. For what it's worth, Notre Dame looked really good out the gate. Um, you know, Sam Hartman kind of did what you expected Sam Hartman to do. Just clean game, 4 touchdowns. Only have 4 or 5 incomplete passes the whole game. I think he was like 19 or 24 or something like that. So,
Hmm.
a clean game. You got. I know it was Navy. It's only the first game, so you can't get too hyped. But you have to think some of the biggest things why Notre Dame hasn't been as successful, maybe they wanted to be in the past, is they haven't had an elite quarterback, and
Hmm.
they have an elite quarterback now to go along with that defense, the talented running game. I mean, it's they have a tough schedule, but if Sam Hartman at least has them going in the right direction, and like we had said last week, probably the best quarterback in Notre Dame since Brady Quinn for sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it looked good. Putting balls on the spot. Like you said, it's Navy, so got to temper that excitement a
All
little
right,
bit. But
exactly.
uh,
But
hey, he looked good.
yep,
Um,
clean game.
yeah, you mentioned USC. Like you said, kind of a slow start in the first half, but they kind
All
of turned
right,
on the Jets and they kind of showed their skill as a team.
yeah.
They had the big 70 plus yard pass. They had a big kick return.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
freshman Zachariah Branch, he's gonna be something special.
yeah,
Wow,
that was yeah,
talented guy.
y'all. If y'all haven't seen the highlights from that, look that one up. That was a
Oof.
impressive kick return.
Yeah, it was.
Um, the good third quarter. Like you said, they were only up 7 going into halftime there.
Yeah,
They threw up 21 in the third quarter there to
ice the
extend their
game.
lead.
I
Yeah.
guess it's same. I guess the biggest thing, and of course that's going to be the biggest thing for USC this whole season, is just that the improvement has to come from the defense. I mean, we know
Hmm.
how good that offense is, and they have seen the add even more firepower. So I mean, we know how good Riley's offenses are. We know how good Caleb Williams is. It's just a matter of can that defense give them enough that the offense can stay ahead of a team. Some question. They gave up 28, but I mean San Jose State is they put up points. You know, uh, and but they shut them down a lot in the second half, and but I guess that's going to be the biggest thing for them. Can they continue to get better defensively? That's
Yeah.
going to determine whether they win the Pac-12 or whether they make the playoff this year. So.
And yeah, that's it. That's, yeah, as plain as you can put it right there. Um, let's see. Next week they have,
I mean, they really don't have much on their schedule for a while.
no, I think Nevada comes to
Yeah,
LA
Nevada.
next week.
Yeah, that's not gonna.
No, yeah, it's
So they
nothing
have
scary
some
there.
time to get better there. Yeah, they play Nevada, Stanford, Arizona State, Colorado, Arizona, and then the big one at Notre Dame on October 14th.
Yeah, so they
So
got time to iron out the kinks.
yeah, so they have a quite quite a few games that they should be heavily favored in. Should win pretty convincingly and get things ready before that October 14th matchup, which
Hmm.
you would think should be quite the game. A lot of points scored possibly. So
That's right. Anything else from yesterday you want to touch on?
no, well, I mean, it was cool to see Jacksonville State get their first, just moving up, getting their first
Hmm.
win. I mean, that's cool. Not too many teams get their first win in their first game moving up.
Yeah,
So shout out to them for that. Overall, it was just good to see football. You know, it wasn't the sexiest of names as far as the matchups, but it's college football. I guess. Uh, no, it's cool. Hawaii looking better than I think a lot of people thought they would. I think a lot of people thought Vandy would run through them, but they seem much improved. Timmy Chang returning back to his alma mater seems to have him going in the right direction at least. But so that was cool to
yeah.
see.
If they could get some, they just need some investment in that program.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Some consistency because they pop
yeah,
up every now and again and they fall off hard. And
yeah,
yeah, they can get some consistency, some investment. I mean, it could be a continually nice program because we've seen them jump up at times, but no consistency with it.
yeah. And especially if Timmy Chang can bring a little bit of that June Jones
Oh yeah,
magic kind of
exactly.
back to the islands there.
Right,
But yeah, let's move on to next week. The real deal. We'll start, or I guess the headliner, LSU, Florida State in Orlando. Neutral site technically, but like last year in New Orleans, it'll be a Florida State home
yeah,
game.
right,
Right now, LSU favored by 2.5. A little interesting, I think, considering where it's played and the hype around both teams. But
right.
yeah, it should be the highlight of the weekend. It's Sunday night. What do you think? Who do you like in it?
No, honestly, I don't know. It's one of those games. It's gonna come down to the small things. I'm thinking. I've been thinking Florida State. I just think that their quarterback play, and they've added a lot in the through the transfer portal, and they just I don't know they have gotten better. They've just been getting better, and I don't know. Maybe I'm buying into the hype a little bit, or one to see Florida State get back to Florida State days. I don't know, but I think Florida State is going to eke out a close one again there. But it's definitely one that could go either way because it's a pretty even matchup. There's nowhere where you're like they're definitely better. So I think it's going to be very very close game, kind of like last year. I think it's going to come down to the small things, not turning the ball over, uh, you know, making your uh, field goals, and you're on the defense if they are in the red zone, holding them to a field goal, not giving up that touchdown. So it's going to come down to the X's and O's, the small things, because there's really not a lot separating these teams. So
Yeah, sure. It's about winning those key moments. The big third
yeah,
downs.
yeah,
Making stops that turn touchdown drives into field goal drives.
exactly.
Uh, you know, who can make a big play, who can force a turnover. Um, yeah, I think I kind of lean with you, just because they'll be, technically, or not technically, but uh, basically, oh, something is playing on my.
Yeah, in
There we go.
Orlando. I mean, I think in that stadium or in Orlando, for what it's worth, I mean, Florida State is undefeated all the time, if
Hmm,
that means anything. But
interesting. Yeah. Um, is that where they played when Alabama and them played back in the day? Was that Orlando or was that Jacksonville?
that,
Like
oh,
2007.
you
I can't
talking about
remember
oh
that one.
07?
Yeah, way
I
back
think
in
that was
'07.
Jacksonville. Pretty
Yeah,
sure that
I
was
think so.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I know the one in Atlanta. I was at that one.
yeah,
But yeah, I think I don't know. I think the key to would be if LSU's defense is improved. They get Mason Smith. I think it's his name back from injury.
he's
That should be
suspended.
huge.
for that game,
Oh, he is. That's right. That's right.
which is the
Um,
dumbest. I
yeah, it's like an old
It's like
ha-
he got
hangover from
from
pre NIL
right like
stuff.
30 days before the NIL passed. Supposedly, it was with like in a month. He got paid for some autographs along with the
Hmm.
wide receiver from last year, but technically he couldn't get suspended because he got hurt on the first in the LSU for the state game last year. So yeah, so which is
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like, come on, really?
yeah,
Who
ab-
told on the man to begin with? Second, like, come on, where we're at in the college football world. Let that stuff slide. Let the man play. Like, I don't get it, but
yeah, absolutely. Just stupid. Um, we'll move on though. Let's go ahead and talk about the Tide. Not a sexy matchup, Middle Tennessee State
yeah,
coming into Tuscaloosa.
hmm
Decent mid-major program, of course. They had that big win over
Miami,
Miami last year. Won their bowl game against San Diego State. Nothing to sneeze at.
yeah,
But obviously, talent-wise, Alabama should
I
roll
mean,
fairly easily.
yeah,
What everybody will be watching this is Alabama's quarterback play. Who will start?
right, yeah,
Will everybody get a chance in the get a series or so to show how they
hmm
look, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah.
Um,
You know,
see,
you know,
yeah, what are you looking for in this game? Just
I just want things to look clean.
hmm
I just want them to come out and you don't want to see them have several three and out drives. You know the, and you just want to see whoever's under center. You just want them to see clean passes. No, you just want to see a clean game where it looks like this is a team that's ready. For the next weekend. Of course, we're looking to week two with Texas coming to town. You just want to see, players. You want to see the receivers not dropping passes. You want to
hmm
see no. You want to see. Hopefully, I know it's game one, but you don't want to see the little mental mistakes that really hurt us last year. I don't want to see guys going off sides. I want to see
hmm
guys. You know, uh, you just want to see just a good effort, clean game, and nothing that you're like, dang. Wow. You just want to feel good going into that second week. And, I think that's what we're really looking for. You just want to see improvement on the defensive line. And, as far as we've been hearing how good the running game is going to be this year. And, the offensive line has looked really good. You just really want to see that. You want to see them dominate early and let a lot of people play. So,
yeah, yeah. I think like you said, the mental mistakes and penalties clean that up.
yeah,
Specifically the pre-snap stuff. That was just the most frustrating thing last year. The
just
dumb
maddening.
penalties.
Yeah.
Um, and then kind of on defense, I'm kind of look. I want to see that edge. We talked about it during the preview,
Yeah.
but that kind of nasty edge of Alabama defense is a pass. Like a
Yeah.
team that would get insulted if Middle Tennessee State scored on them.
Right. Exactly.
I kind of want to see that anger back. And then
Yeah.
of course, with the quarterbacks, just you want to see who plays sharp, who looks like they're making good decisions. Who's
Yeah.
getting the ball out quickly. If Jalen Milroe's making plays with his legs, but has he improved his arm? Is
Yeah. Exactly.
if Tyler Buckner plays at all, like, does he have a firm grip on the offense that gives him an edge? What does Ty
Hmm.
Simpson give us?
Yeah.
The receivers, who's going to step up on that core and be the leader, be a star, the guy that we can depend
Mhm.
on to make, big third down catches, big plays.
Exactly. Right.
Um, and then, yeah, of course, like you mentioned, the running game, is the line improved, is, the philosophy, and of course, play calling. We don't have Bryce Young to lean on. We're not going to play, hey, let's hope Bryce does something cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so, how's it play calling? How's it going to look? Can we get our offense in rhythm? Can we sustain drives? Can we make, big chunk plays?
Exactly.
Can we give our defense rest when they need it? But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, game's what, 6:30 next week,
30.
Central
So
Time. Yeah.
SEC
6:30
Network.
Central Time. Yeah, a little SEC network game. Alabama favored by 39.
Yeah,
I don't know if I touch. It's a little high,
yeah,
but
a lot of points.
but
That is
yeah.
a lot.
Elsewhere, let's see. Let's see. SEC play Thursday night. Florida goes to Utah. Maybe not as hyped as last year because expectations surrounding Florida are a lot lower this year.
Right,
But this
and
is a big game for Utah if they want to make a
it
playoff
is.
run.
Yeah, for sure. You know, a lot of. I mean, Utah, but the won what 2 straight Pac-12s.
Hmm.
Um, so definitely not a game you want to. Yeah, I mean, all eyes are going to be on that game. I mean, it's basically the only thing going Thursday night. So I mean, it should have huge numbers. I mean,
Hmm.
two programs. Well, I mean, respected program names. So yeah, but yeah, Utah definitely would think that they have to win. Um, and just for the thoughts of where some people see this Florida program at currently, I mean,
Hmm.
you would hope for if you're a Utah fan, you want to come out and get a convincing win there, just because, yeah, if you're going to be a contender, you can't lose to the Gators this year.
No, yeah, especially they're a touchdown favorite.
Yeah. Now, and I guess that probably we won't know till game day just because of the what it would bring as far as the. Uh, but depends also. Is Cam Rising playing? Is he
Mhm.
healthy? I mean, I've heard he's been practicing some, but is he a go for Thursday? Because I mean, I think that makes a big difference in the game in general. But I'm assuming that's something you wouldn't really let out the bag until you really have to.
Right.
But
Um, Elsewhere in the SEC, let's see. South Carolina plays North Carolina in
yeah,
Charlotte. That should be a
that's an
good one.
interesting game.
Yeah, same time as Alabama. It's on ABC. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
really interesting for both teams. If South Carolina can keep their momentum from the end of last season going, and then that's
exactly.
Drake May. That's like a Heisman showcase game right there.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's big for both programs, just
mhm.
for where their direction of their season goes. Because I mean, North Carolina, I don't know if to really consider the ACC contender. I mean, that offense will be good. Drake May will be good, but what I want to see is if that defense is any improved from last year, because that defense kept them out of really any type of title contention. They were in a lot of close games, but that defense broke a lot, and they had
Yeah,
a lot of points.
if we see the South Carolina offense from the last few games last year and that
Yeah,
North Carolina defense from last year, this could be
yeah,
another like 60-60 shootout.
yeah. Yeah, so it'd just be interesting to see where both teams are. And I guess if you're a South Carolina fan, you just want to know what Spencer Rattler are you going to get? Because,
Hmm.
I mean, before November, it was very like, man. And then, get to that Tennessee game, get to that Clemson game, and just put up numbers. And it's like, where was this guy?
Yeah.
So it'd be
Um,
interesting because just want to see where he's at, where the defense is at, because Drake May's going to be good. I mean, he's been good since he's been in Carolina, so that won't be a thing. It's just a matter of a complete game. Um, that defense and then where Spencer Rattler is at. But
yeah. And then elsewhere, not really much. Virginia and Tennessee is kind of the only other game of note, but Tennessee should really. I mean, they're favored by
should
28, so they should
yeah,
rout
I
them.
would think win pretty convincingly.
Yeah. That game is in Nashville too, so another one of those neutral sites,
Yeah,
but not really.
not really. Yeah, that's gonna be quite the quiet. That ugly orange will be everywhere in
Yeah. Ooh,
Nashville for sure.
flashes of orange, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Moving on. Oh, let's see. Kind of other. There's not really another big game next week. You got Colorado
I guess,
TCU. Will be
yeah,
a
I
lot of
guess,
hype
I
around
mean,
it.
that'll have a lot of eyes on it just
Hmm.
because it's Dion, and of course, rightfully so. I mean, it's been entertaining. I mean, no one's really thought about Colorado since I don't know when the last time anybody really mentioned Colorado for anything, and whether
Yeah.
they have a good season or not. I mean, they're going to get on TV. They're going to get some eyes on them because of everything that Dion's brought to that program and just the hype that he brings. I mean, he's a media guy's dream as far as quotes and everything else. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so they just interesting. Can they hang with TCU at all?
hmm Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they, if that team's buying into the Dion philosophy, his
Yeah,
coaching style, to see if his, a lot of those transfers, if they live up. We know the Travis
yeah, Travis Hunter.
Hunter. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's a star.
right.
We know that he was being recruited by big time, all the big time
Everybody,
programs before. So
exactly,
um, it'll be interesting to see him, against a TCU defense, making plays in secondary and the
yeah,
offense. If he goes two ways still, if he gets some chance in the return game. And
right.
then Shador Sanders at quarterback. I'm interested to see how he does against big time FBS defense.
Oh yeah,
Um, and that's really a transition I'm interested in seeing.
for sure. Because
Um,
it'll be a big change in overall talent level. I mean, we saw
mhm.
him succeed at Jackson State, but coming up a whole level there, coming up from the FCS. I mean, that's a big change there. But we know he's a talented guy. I mean, he
Mhm.
probably would have be at a D1 program if his dad wasn't Dion. I mean, he probably would have went D1, of course. And also, you just want to see what TCU does. I mean, they
Yeah.
lost a lot of folks. And just new offensive coordinator, their original starting quarterback under center from last year before he got hurt, and Max Duggan just skyrocketed. But what do the Frogs look like? Are they the same? Are they going to be on the same level as they were last year, or what are they going to look like? And so I think a lot of eyes, of course, will be on that game. How close it'll be, who knows? Um, I think TCU wins that game, of course. I mean, being in Fort Worth, currently a 21-point favorite, but who knows exactly. But,
Yeah, that, and like you said, that's really on the flip side of that's interesting to see what the new TCU looks like this season. No
yeah,
more Garrett Riley at coordinator. New quarterback. Lost their star receiver Deontay Johnson. But yeah, you see how they bounce back, how they kind of handle the weight of that being now kind of a big time team.
yeah. And
They
now
got
they kind
they got a bullseye on them
of,
now.
yeah, the expectations have definitely jumped there, and yeah, I mean everybody's looking to get revenge on
Yeah.
the Horned Frogs because it's a lot of Big 12 teams are like, dang, we haven't been to the, the national championship game. No matter how bad that game was, hey, the Frogs were there. So
Mhm. Let's see. Moving out west, 2:30. All these times are central too, folks. Boise State at Washington's an interesting one.
it is. It
Uh,
definitely is.
the Huskies fancy themselves a Pac-12 contender and then maybe a playoff contender. Michael Penix
Right.
Jr., a Heisman contender. So they need to, they're favored by a couple touchdowns and they need to win that game kind of,
They gotta look good.
yeah, convincingly. Got to look good, got to handle business. And then, if
Hmm.
you're Boise, if you have any, aspirations of maybe being like a Cincinnati type team, making a run, this is a game. Obviously, you got to come into Washington, pull the upset.
No, yeah. I mean, or at least make a showing of it.
Hmm
You don't want to come in there and get your head knocked off. I mean, I'm just looking at last year's schedule, but they had three losses on the season. I mean, I guess Boise hasn't been as good as what we seen them at times the last couple of years, but I mean, they're still a respected program. You know, yeah, for them, it's just a matter of you want to look good. I mean, probably not pulling that upset, but you don't want to get housed either.
No, yeah, be interested to see them because they're favored in the Mountain West. They're among those
Yeah,
favorites to win it. So if they come out, yeah, like you said, they really give Washington a good fight, then we know like okay, they could probably they can maybe run through their Mountain West schedule.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and then the only other one I had was West Virginia at Penn State. Um, another one. Penn State should probably win that easily,
Hmm.
but interesting one nonetheless. Kind of kind of an old school
Used to,
regional rivalry that
yeah. Uh, Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they
but
used to play it a lot back in the
hmm
day. I mean, it hadn't been since 90, what, 2 or 3 that they last played. So it's been a while. But yeah, definitely one that, and that's another one you just want to see where Penn State's at because there's a lot of hype on Penn State this year. A lot of people feel good about them, and you just that's one that they want to come out and look good. At home, new quarterback. Supposed to have a really good defense this year, and if you're a Penn State fan, you just want to come out there and look really good. Get a easy win in your week one because I'm sure it's gonna have a lot of eyes on it there on NBC. I think that's
hmm
prime time on
yeah, six
Saturday
thirty
night.
game.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm sure it'll have a lot of eyes because a lot of people are interested in seeing what Penn State does. Um, on that West Virginia side, I mean, that's a program that's kind of fallen off.
hmm
If there's any coach on the hot seat in the Big 12, I think it's their coach.
Yeah.
Had a tough year last year, and overall a proud program. They have a lot of history, a lot of successful football. So you probably not winning the game, but it's kind of in that Boise. You want to come in there and you want to show up and let Penn State know that you're at least there. You don't want it over by halftime. You want to show some signs of life that you can look good throughout to build on for the rest of your year.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Neil Brown, definitely a hot seat candidate this year. West Virginia was picked last in the Big 12 preseason media poll, and he came out this week kind of bitching about it, saying it was their, not this week, or over the summer.
Hmm.
Just talking about how it pissed him off, and he called it lazy or whatever. Well, it's, all right, then prove it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they've done anything earth shattering to not be in that
Yeah.
situation. So,
Yeah, that's this your chance. If you think that
yeah,
was,
be
some bullshit,
motivated.
then yeah, if you think that was bullshit, then call them on it.
And that should
Put
have
up a
been
fight.
your,
Yeah.
yeah, because
But
should definitely motivate your team if you guys feel you're much better than what your things show you. I mean, but it's just been a while since they've been what they had, 4 wins last year.
5-7, I think, was their record. Yeah.
Yeah, two,
They
three,
beat
yeah.
Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, but again, off years for both of those programs.
Right. And they got housed a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, when they lost, it wasn't pretty. Um,
I mean, they lost Texas Tech by 38. Yikes.
mhm.
TCU
So,
by 10. I mean, Iowa State was not good last year, and they lost 31-14. I mean,
mhm.
that's just not. But then the next week they bounced back and beat OU. Weird.
Yeah, it was a weird season, but again, yeah, Neil Brown hot seat, and if you back that hype or back that talk up, if you
Yep.
think that was
Back
a
it up
bullshit prediction, come out and
and show it.
yeah,
Have a good
fight
one
and
against Penn State.
give Penn
Yeah.
State a scare. Yeah, and like you said, if you're Penn State and everyone's hyping you up as a national title
You got to come out
possible
and,
contender, then you got to come out uh,
and really
and you
take
got
it
to
to them early.
yeah, like you said, this game needs to be over by halftime if you're a Penn State fan.
Yeah.
One other game, looking at the schedule next week, that's interesting to me. South Alabama at Tulane. It's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
mid-major matchup.
Very
South
good.
Alabama, one of the Sun Belt favorites. Tulane, one of the
Yeah.
American favorites, and obviously Cotton
Yeah.
Bowl champs.
Yeah.
That's a late one,
Yeah.
7 o'clock. ESPNU. That should be a fun one.
Fun game. A lot of points scored, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're I mean, if it's probably only the most nerdiest of college football fans really interested in that one. But hey, yeah, I think yeah, I saw that when they were talking about the games yesterday and things you're looking forward to, and yeah, those are two programs definitely on the rise, and South Alabama's moved up. So it'll be fun. Should be a good game and kind of also give you an idea if Tulane is a team that can get back into that New Year Six talk again. Yep,
Yeah.
depending on how
Yeah,
they
we
work
mentioned
out.
in the preview them moving up to the American, a little bit tougher
Hmm.
challenge for them this year. But
Hmm.
and like TCU now, that's a team that's they got a target on their back now. It's like, okay, you
Yep,
made the big time, so now
made the big
a
time,
team
got a
like
big
South
win.
Alabama who wants to do that, yeah, they're going to be coming
Yeah.
for you.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
so that'd be a
that game
fun one.
is in New Orleans. But that should be a fun one. That's something that South Alabama's relatively new. But if those teams played more, that could be a little like
That
regional
could be a little
rivalry.
rivalry. I mean, yeah,
That's
they're
a
right
two and a
next
half
to each
hour
other.
drive from Mobile, New
Yeah,
Orleans. You know.
not a, yeah, and that I mean that's a fun one right there. I mean,
Hmm.
so both programs continue on this the trajectory. Yeah, that definitely could be a little turn into a little heated rivalry. Kind of also with interesting with recruiting as well. Because I mean, you're in the hotbed for recruiting, and then if South Alabama's getting better, and of course Tulane continues on, guys that gets don't necessarily they're good enough to get looked at by Alabama or LSU, but don't necessarily sign. Hey, you look at hey, we're good enough to get you to the league. We might get you to a New Year's Six game. Hell, with the 12-team playoff, certain years we might get you into the playoff.
Hmm.
So they have a lot. I think programs like that have a lot going for them, honestly. But
Yeah. But I think that was it for games that
yeah,
kind of interested me. Anything you want
no, I think we kind of hit on everything. I mean, it'll be some
to?
interesting
Yeah.
games, and I think for a lot of teams, they're kind of determine how their seasons will go.
Yeah. For like contenders, you just want to see them come out, handle their
Yeah,
business.
right.
I guess one sort of. I don't think it's two, but Clemson does play at Duke Monday night. They're only favored by 12 and a half.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, for what I mean, Duke did a heck of a job last season. I mean, Mike
mhm,
Elko's team. I mean, they weren't expected to do anything, and they ended up going to a bowl game. I mean, definitely kudos to them. But yeah, you would have to think if if they hang, e- yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard for them to duplicate last year, I would say. But who knows? I mean, if there's questions about Clemson, and the questions get louder if Duke hangs or wins that game for sure.
mhm.
But be it what,
Um,
Labor Day night game.
yeah. All right. Well, last week we gave y'all our conference predictions, who we thought
Hmm.
would win each conference, but we forgot to give you who we thought would make the playoff. So, Greg, you want to give me your four playoff teams so we can make
Four play
everybody else a little bit more money?
exactly. So my four, um, I do have two coming out the SEC. I do have Bama, Georgia, both making it. As I said, I think both teams going to the SEC championship game undefeated. Unless
Hmm.
craziness happens, I expect even with a one-loss SEC team, both get in. So that's two of them. My other two, I have Penn State, and then I have Washington. How
Okay.
about you?
Interesting one. I have a big boy one. I do have Bama since predicted them to win the SEC. Then
Hmm.
I have Florida State, Michigan, and USC. And that's my kind of my prediction. I think it'll either be like all unbeaten teams indoor. And I don't think there's like a two bid conference this year.
Hmm.
I think the conference champs will all be strong enough to merit a bid in the
Very
last year of the 14 playoff, and
nice.
it'll be enough to put over. Like you said, if it's a even if it's like an unbeaten SEC title game, the loser might lose out to like a Pac-12 champ or a Big 12 champ, or I think Texas easily can make it in too if they say
Hmm.
they lose to Bama early in the year, then they run the table.
Yeah,
That's a good thing, and vice versa too. If Bama
right.
loses Texas, but then runs the table in the SEC,
Exactly.
and obviously those teams are if Clemson wins the ACC, I think they would probably get in. If Ohio State wins or Penn State,
Hmm.
the Big Ten, I think they'd probably be in.
All right.
Same for like I think last year the Pac-12 kind of cannibalized itself, or it kind of does a lot in recent
They
years.
do
But
that a lot. Yeah,
if there's one team that really just comes out and runs that table in there, I think that's a as tough as that conference is this year. I think it's deserving. So be it USC, Utah, Washington, or Oregon.
for
As
sure.
long as they're a one loss at worst team,
Yeah,
I
they
think
might
that would
not
be deserving of a
have done
bid.
enough because they've been because they beat because more than likely you're gonna have to beat one of those teams twice.
Yeah,
Like I think like Washington plays USC and Oregon in the regular season, so I mean they're gonna see more than likely see one of those again. And if you're able,
yeah,
if you won both times, wow.
hmm
But if you win that late one, even if you do drop the early one, I mean and only that's your only loss on the year, and you get redemption. Shoot, you gotta get. It's hard.
yeah,
Gonna be hard to keep out the Pac-12 this year. Kind of crazy to think because that's been the one everybody's looked at as a weak conference, and it's their last year. Crazy enough, might be the most dynamic conference in America this year, which is
yeah,
different.
yeah. And as far as any Cincinnati 21 candidates, we mentioned Tulane.
I don't
Um,
see it.
it's just tough. I think they'd have to have a lot of like 2007 type craziness happen in front of them.
Yeah, because
Like the
I
Pac-12
honestly,
had to cannibalize itself. The Big 12 would have to be a disappointment again.
yeah,
The SEC, you'd have to have like, say like Bama knock off Tennessee, but Tennessee knock off Georgia, and
yeah,
then one of them lose, and then one of them lose a upset somewhere, then Bama lose to
exactly.
LSU, but LSU
Mm.
lose somewhere, like
Right,
you'd have
where
to,
the SC champion has
yeah.
two losses or something crazy.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and Tulane would have to run the table. They get Ole Miss as kind of a showcase game, but that's kind of it. They'd have to hope that another couple of their conference opponents have big years and get ranked.
and I think
Like
they'd have
maybe
to
hope
win
that,
pretty convincingly. They can't
yeah,
eke out a eke out a game against a SMU or anything like that. They're gonna have to
no,
take
yeah,
it two teams if they want to. Because there's a lot of like all the Power Five conferences have arguably two or three contenders. It seems like most of them. So yeah. I mean, it's gonna take some craziness for a non-power five to make the last 14 playoff for sure. I think it
hmm
really helps them more so next year when we get to the 12. But yeah, the
hmm
last year the four. Yeah, I'd be shocked if anybody's even really close to other than a power five to get in. Just because I think there's gonna be a lot of I think it's gonna be a lot of one loss Power Five teams at the end of the year. So
yeah, I do. I guess could be a year where it might be a tough choice for the committee.
hmm
And like I said, it's gonna be a lot of work for a mid-major team to
for sure.
make it. They need a lot of help.
Yeah.
But definitely, Tulane's probably one of your favorites. Make it back to the New Year's Six, at least
Oh
another
yeah,
big
New Year's
showcase, and
Six.
then next year, at least for the first 2 years till the TV contract gets renegotiated, it'll be Power Four conferences, unless the
Yeah.
Pac-12 merges with does something to keep their power status. You're going to see two bids for group of five, whatever they're calling them next conferences. So a team like
Right.
Tulane or Boise out of the Mountain West, something
And
like that. Those teams
Boise.
could.
Yeah. Or
But
if someone out the Mac gets it, Toledo. Who knows?
yeah, yeah, a team that runs the table in a
Yeah.
mid-major, smaller conference. Um, but all right, let's see elsewhere in the world of sports going on this week. Big trade in the NFL. Trey Lance going to your Cowboys. And what a weird turn of events in that. The 49ers
Yeah.
mortgaged the farm for him, just gave up so much to move up in that
Right.
draft and get him. And he's been hurt. Um, you know, he basically he wasn't a rookie last year, right? That was the second year. The first
No,
year he was
the
mostly a
second year.
backup. Yeah.
Right. He started two games in 21.
Oh,
Last year played against the Bears in that monsoon and then broke his ankle in game two and was out. So you
yeah.
still know really we know nothing about him. we know nothing about Trey Lance. We've seen him in very minimal playing. Didn't even get a chance to really do anything last year. Um, first game of the season was that monsoon game. Got hurt early in that second week game. And it's just crazy to think that they've already felt that they've seen enough that they're not even interested in continuing on with them.
Hmm.
Like, I understand you guys like what Brock Purdy did in his little end of the season and then in the playoff, but do you really feel that Brock Purdy is enough to be that guy? I mean, not saying he can't be, but I don't know if I would have made that move quite yet. I mean, he was just a rookie last year himself. He got thrown into a crazy situation and handled it well, but I don't know, to give it all to him right away. I was like, wow.
Yeah, and now he's traded for
Brock,
a fourth round pick.
yeah,
Um,
like
you
wow.
know, what do you think about it as a Cowboys fan? Just uh, a good
It's
backup for
interesting.
Dak?
It's definitely interesting. I mean, you would have to think Dak's like, wow. So I mean, you have to think that's kind of heads up as far as, hey, you need to show some improvements this year, and or you might be on the chopping block soon yourself. I would think that that's how he's probably looking at that.
Mm,
Um, it might be a good thing because sometimes you need someone that can be considered a starter to come in there to really wake you up. Because
mhm,
yeah, I mean we have Cooper Rush, but I mean he's done well when Dak was hurt. But I mean no one's ever really thought, oh, Cooper Rush could definitely be the starting quarterback in Dallas. But I mean
mhm,
if things go bad for Dak, or if he were to get hurt. Unfortunately, did a couple years ago, and then Trey Lance were to come in and really handle that situation, it could be one of those things like with Tony Romo. Well, you're kind of out.
mhm,
uh, so who knows? But I mean, if anything, I think it wakes Dak up, and he puts a little pressure on him to say, hey, I'm still the guy here. Don't know why you brought him in, uh, but so I think it's good. Hopefully, it'll be a good thing for Dak because honestly, you know, I, I want us to be the biggest supporter because I mean, of course, he's the franchise quarterback as of now, but things just have not materialized. I mean, he started off, he got us to the playoffs, but I just haven't seen him get better. It's kind of the same old, same old. Okay at times, looks good, and then some dumb happens, or it's like no consistency. So would love to see that from him on, and especially once we get into the playoffs, because the regular season's one thing, but of course, we have that well documented. Can't do anything in the playoffs, so we'll
mhm,
see how it goes this year. And then be interesting too. If he does struggle in the playoff again, what do they do? Does Trey Lance move up next year? Or do they move away from Dak? I know he's just recently had a big contract, so but if anything, I think it's a wake up call. But I mean, obviously Trey Lance. I mean, they probably didn't have much say in it, but I mean, new turnaround for him. So of course he's trying to prove himself that, hey,
mhm,
I'm not a bust. I can be the guy somewhere. So I'm sure he's coming in that situation like feeling disrespected and wants a chance to prove what he can do.
mhm.
It was a weird trade, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and it's one of those, if say Lance eventually does become your starter there, and then he lives up to the hype, then you got him for a fourth round draft pick.
Exactly.
So I get it from the Cowboys' perspective. That's not much of a gamble for a guy that was so hyped
Yeah,
coming into the league.
exactly. But on that
Um,
fourth side, you're like, wow, really?
hmm yeah. Um, Elsewhere in the league, let's see. Josh Jacobs in his holdout worked up a 1 year deal worth up to 12 million with the Raiders. So good for him. Get paid, man. Uh, let's see. We talked last week. Zeke and the Patriots. Dalvin Cook to the Jets. Um, just
No,
I don't think
I would wait
any.
on Jonathan Taylor, and he wants.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's pushing hard to go to Miami. It sounds like, but I don't know if that's even an option.
if they want to
Um,
meet, yeah, Jonathan Taylor was given permission by the Colts to seek out a trade. It looks like they're looking for at least a first round pick or maybe a few draft picks to equal that. So we'll see if teams want to pay that for a running back in today's NFL, which they don't, teams don't seem to want to pay
that
running
seems
backs,
to
but
be
I
the
think
popular.
that's a great fit in Miami.
Yeah,
Um, no shade on Raheem Mostert or who they got there, but that's man, Jonathan Taylor's we saw a couple years ago, he's a stud running back and he can carry an offense. And
he's
you
one
add
of
him
the
to
league's
that,
best when he's
hmm
healthy. So,
yeah, and you add him and an element of that kind of power running game to
mhm.
that Miami offense with that speed, man, that's another
That's
dynamic that they can really hurt you with and take some pressure off of Tua.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, so I could see that, it's a good fit for them, but I also understand if they don't want to pay a first round pick for
Yeah,
him.
and he was hurt. He's been hurt a little bit.
Mhm.
I know he got hurt some last year. Yeah, and it's just that market. Like we see where the NFL is with running backs. Even the best of the best are kind of put on the back burner. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I don't think anybody's giving up a first round draft pick for a running back, especially in
No.
today's market. It's just not going to happen. And then it comes to if you don't give up a first round draft pick. I mean, do they want players or what else possibly could make you? Because I don't think Miami wants give up any of their current roster at all. So yeah, what package would be sexy enough for the culture? Like sure, but then Miami also feels like man, we're not losing out on anything. And if
Yeah.
he does go there, I mean that AFC East is gonna be kind of like the hype of the AFC West was last year. I mean, all the quarterbacks, all the talent there. Wow, that's gonna be quite the division as far as on paper anyway.
Yeah, that should be a really fun division. Just trying to see elsewhere. Major League Baseball, a couple injuries this week, kind of marring things down the stretch. Shohei Otani's done pitching for the year. Um,
Yeah,
Orioles lost their closer.
those
Felix
are
Batista goes on the IL for an undetermined length of time. That's big for them because he's been such a force in the back of that bullpen for them, closing out games.
Yeah, and you hate to see it this time of the year, especially for a team in a
Hmm.
contender spot, just because how much a closer means there. So yeah, you hopefully it's not too serious. But yeah, on the other side, the fact that Tommy's not going to pitch anymore, moving to that DH role. But it's just been
Um,
you hope that long term that has no effect on him being able to do both because it's just so fun to watch it.
yeah. Um, let's see elsewhere. The U.S. World Cup team in basketball looks really good.
Looks
Um,
good.
it's a
Blew out New Zealand yesterday.
hmm interesting to see France upset by Latvia. They
That
will not
yeah,
advance past the
out.
group stage.
It's not a good look for the French, who honestly at the Olympics, where they beat us in the early and then pushed us in the gold pushed us in the gold medal game there. So that's wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shocker. Let's see. Anything else in the world of sports we missed you want to touch on?
Mm. Well, quietly, just a little talking about baseball there. I mean, what quietly the Mariners are sneaking up on everybody.
Hmm.
uh, Won like I think 8 or 9 of the last 10, and just hitting home runs left and right. I mean, kind of the team that we expected all season, and they're coming on at the right time. So, in the American League, that's not a team you want to play, especially in the playoff.
No, yeah. Yeah, getting to be that crunch time as we approach September here.
Mhm.
Major League Baseball, it's exciting time for a sports fan. It's the
Got
stretch
every
run for baseball and opening football season. you got there. We mentioned that the O's closer. They got a 3-game lead on the Rays in the East there.
Yeah,
Like you said, the Mariners now tied with the Rangers out west. The Astros are a game back. That'd be a fun division
that'd be
race.
a fun division.
Yeah. NL division races aren't as exciting. The closest one is the Central, where the Brewers lead the Cubs by 4 and the Reds by 5. So there's a chance that Chicago and Cincy could hop back in that division race, but they're mostly probably battling
Right.
for the wild card.
Yeah.
AL wild card race, that'll be fun. Right now it's the Rays, Rangers, and Mariners, and the Astros, Jays, and Red Sox are kind of all right there on the outside looking in. And that'd
Mm.
be crazy if the Astros can't somehow find a way
Can't
in.
make
Division,
playoff.
defending
Uh,
champs.
right. It's been a while.
Hmm.
Yeah. When was the last time a defending champ didn't make the playoff the next year? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'd
But
have to
I
look
mean,
that up.
but I
Um,
mean, we still. I mean, they're only one game out of that wild card. So I mean, plenty of.
and yeah, they're one game out of the wild card, one game out of the division. So there, that's a
Uh,
it's a crapshoot right there. Yeah, I think that does it. We're just excited for football season to come.
yeah.
So Greg, what's been done up real good for you?
This week, nothing. I guess it's just I guess just seeing football yesterday was was
Hmm.
enough for me there. I was watching Jacksonville State, and everybody's like, "Why are you watching this?" I'm like, "It's college football."
It's football,
Like,
baby.
yeah. That's just done up just because it goes so fast. But you get those 3-4 months, and it's just epic. But that's done up for me. How about you?
A little bit same. It's football season. It's good to see it on the TV yesterday. Even
Hmm.
Notre Dame's up. Whatever big on Navy. It's just fun to see it on the
Oh
TV.
yeah.
It's good to see it coming up on the schedule this week. Start
Oh
paying
yeah.
attention to other shows. Like College Football Live. Start paying attention to the news.
Yeah.
Radio gets hyped up around here.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
I know the radio down there for sure.
Oh yeah. It's always a shit show.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that should do it for us, folks. Thanks once again for listening to Taking on Sports. Please do subscribe and give us a good rating wherever you listen to us. Tell your friends about us. Tell your rich friends about us. Be sure to check out everything else on the Alabama Take. Um, Alabama Slam should be good this week with All In happening, AEW happening right now, in fact. So I'm sure they'll have a lot to go on, talk about that. Maybe talk about, I don't think they got to talk about on this week's show. I think it happened after, but of course, the tragic passing of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Interested to see what these guys have to say about him, his life, and legacy.
Yeah.
Taking it down. We'll be back, I believe, this week, this Tuesday. Our pop culture TV podcast, of course, the Stare Down. Um, yeah, among other great shows we have. Also, we are Star Wars, been pumping out episodes lately, quick, like 20-minute hitters. So, yeah, all kinds of great things. Of course, if you are interested, join our college pick'em. The Alabama Takes College Pick'em we do every year. Chance to win, T-shirt, mug, whatever you want, some type of Alabama Takes swag. You can find information that on all of our accounts, the Alabama Take, whatever social media account you follow them on their links. All are taken on sports. Links are up. We're on Twitter and now on Threads and Instagram as well. Just check out basically any of us. We've got links to it. Join up. Uh, you know, see
Should
if you
be
can
a
outpick us.
epic
Uh,
season.
the our betting column will be back. Blaine and I believe we're joined by Mallory from the Stare Down this year.
Nice.
That goes up Fridays before the season, or before the week's games start. See if Blaine and I can keep it going. We both finished over 500 last year.
Nice.
So it's something about
That's not.
whatever I pick on this podcast does not work, but whatever I pick in that column does a little better. So we'll
Because
see.
if you go 500, over 500 in the whole season, you've done a heck of a job overall.
Hey, that's making money.
Heck yeah.
Uh, But yeah, like I said, thanks once again for listening, folks. Keep it done up real good out there yourselves. Greg, have a good one, man.
You too, bud.